Greetings, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and today, Boruto 2 Blue Vortex has dropped once again. It's that time of the month, and we have a new chapter to review. Now, this chapter cover features Sumire holding Sasuke's sword that she is gonna put some upgrades on that we know from last chapter Boruto gave her. Now let's get into this chapter. Wait, let's look at this. Look at this cover page real quick. I really like this cover art. It sort of shows you she's hugging the sword. And the sword can symbolize a lot of things. Sword can symbolize her relationship with Boruto, her care and craftiness with scientific ninja tool tech, and Sumire is kind of goated. I'm not gonna lie, she's a goated character. I'm not gonna lie. In the anime, she didn't really have much time to shine. Part 1 Boruto, early Boruto, Academy arc Boruto kind of gave her more of a character arc, character development, but we see that in 2 Blue Vortex, she's going to be a staple of the series, and seems like she's not going anywhere. And I really like this chapter cover. Now, this chapter is number 28, titled New Powers. Let's get into it. So this chapter opens up with Inojin crafting his new jutsu, and this Kara, Kashin Kojin, and Boruto is very impressed of his work that he's been working on. He was able to learn this jutsu in about a day thanks to Kashin Kojin's prescience ability, and Boruto congratulates him. And we see at this time that Inojin looks over at Boruto and be like, bro, you are a village traitor. I don't trust you at all. And Boruto, I really like how this is shot in the panel work. You sort of see his scarred eye. He's talking off to the side, symbolizing this is sort of like his front. And he shoots back at him and is like, I haven't accepted you either, bro. If you mess up things with Himawari, I'm gonna buzz that stupid haircut off. And that was pretty funny to see him say and whatnot, because Himawari is his little sister, and Inojin does have relationship ties with Himawari. So it's good to see that he is sticking up for her little sis, even though he doesn't even get what he's saying because of the Ada's ability. Now, next scene, we go back to the interrogation with Konohamaru scene with this investigator guy, and we see that Sai is sort of on to what Konohamaru was just saying. It seems like he saw and figured out that Konohamaru was using a sensory unit during that thing, so he's checking in with the official sensory unit. He's like, hey yo, what's going on? Did Konohamaru just have a transmission in the past couple minutes? And then the official sensory team for the village was like, nah, he didn't use anything. And so Sai is using his little detective work right here to figure out if Konohamaru is consolidating with a traitor. I think I used that word right. But in the scene, we see that Mitsuki comes in, and the investigator guy now has interest in him, because last chapter he deduced that Konohamaru is not smart enough to concoct a plan to break Boruto out, or he's too blunt, he's too obvious, he's too upfront. Some people are just what they give you at face value, and so that's what he sort of deduced. And now he's looking at Mitsuki like, hey yo, you're next up, and he might get somewhere with Mitsuki. I'm not gonna lie. And then right after that, we switch to a scene that shows off Boruto's new sword. This scene is Boruto and Sumire, and Sumire breaks down the upgrades of Sasuke's sword. Now, right off the bat, Boruto notices that most everything has changed except for the handguard. And she's like, yeah, I upgraded the material. I re-altered its shape for maximum strength and cutting ability. And she also added a sort of security system that is able to recognize Boruto's and Sasuke's and Sumere's chakra. Now, this security system is also disguised as a activation of the so-called Hagoromo ability, the Uchiha style ability, which enhances the blade potence, that enhances the blade's strength by using chakra to coat the blade, basically making it invincible, I guess, for a short period of time. So this security system is able to drain chakra from Boruto to activate the Hagoromo ability. Now, this does it automatically because last time when he broke the blade, he wasn't focused, so he didn't channel the chakra to the blade, and that's how it got chipped, because it got hit when he wasn't using Hagoromo. Now it does it automatically, so that shouldn't be a factor anymore. Now, when another person other than Boruto, Sasuke, or Sumere picks up this blade, it will drain their chakra almost completely, essentially. So that is a really cool ability that I feel like that's going to come up later. So maybe he can use Flying Raijin or some deception trickery to make someone hold the blade, and which will drain him completely. And at the end of the scene, we see that Sumere has one more thing added to this blade, but it's not specified. So we still have something that we can look forward to as readers to look forward, instead of explaining exactly what the blade does in full detail. Next scene, we go to not Konohamaru, Shikamaru and Shikadai. Shikamaru is breaking down to Shikadai the plan with the whole Kara undercover organization, and he's spilling the beans to him. He has faith in his son that he is going to make the right choice here. Maybe he's informed by Kashin Kojin that his son isn't going to choose any other side than him, but in this scene, he's basically going to break down the circumstance that he's doing with the Kara, Boruto, Kashin Kojin, and all his other friends. And Shikadai in this scene, he sort of falls in line, kind of how Inojin fell in line when he essentially got kidnapped by Boruto and Kashin Kojin to work with them. And he's like, all of my friends are doing this. I guess I'm a victim of groupthink. Their heart must be in this way. He says that Chocho and Hima isn't going to let Hima do this on her own. And we see that he recognizes that all of his friends are basically on this side, and his father is on this side, so he's gonna double down and basically be like, okay, Dad, I'm in, let's get this popping. Now we switch to a very interesting scene that is between Inojin and Kashin Kojin. This scene basically just tells Kashin Kojin tells Inojin that in order to have a desirable future, things are going to have to happen. Those things are sort of, it's like called the laws of causality. Something's going to happen, and we're not going to know if that was inherently good or not by the outcome. But the input, so the thing that is a product of this causation that causes this change, can be either something good or bad. So that is what he is essentially explaining to Inojin in this instance, which I love because I love the psychology around this, because I think about this all the time. This is sort of my personal view of things, is that things can be bad or good, but until we know the outcome of things, we don't know if it's going to benefit us or deter us. So this is something that is awesome to see in this anime and explain a lot. And then at the end of this, we sort of see the alternate endings or whatnot to this arc, and we see that Ada is in a tree and Himawari is dead, and Inojin is holding Himawari in her arms, and it's a pretty powerful moment, I think, for the viewers and for this character Inojin and for Kashin Kojin, because Kashin Kojin is dealing with all this future sight stuff, and it's really cool to see. Now the next scene we switch to is basically the galvanization of all the Kara troops, undercover troops, so that so Mamushi entering the village can this is counter Mamushi enter the village team. So it is a team with Ada, Damon, Sarada, Chocho, Himawari, Shikamaru, Delta, Mitsuki, Kanohamaru, Kawaki, Amato, Boruto, Sumire, Inojin, and Kashin Kojin, and Shikamaru. So this whole team is going to be up against Mamushi. And sort of how I predicted in last chapter, Inojin's new jutsu connects everybody sort of simultaneously. It doesn't really connect everyone in the sense that I think it would connect, but essentially it's a mind transfer jutsu that does the regular mind transfer stuff, but it connects everyone like a receiver. So he's able to receive vibrations and waves from each person that is connected with this jutsu, hence that not a lot of people can be with this jutsu. We know in the mind transfer everyone can be linked and can be conversed with through this. There's only a group that can be used by this, because he needs to connect himself with each individual person. So what this does is that it makes it so we can sense different frequencies of sound. Everyone emits a different sound frequency, so they're able to detect Mamushi when they're in the village, because Mamushi can cut off his chakra signature, much like how Shinju's Divine Trees and Otsutsuki can do. So everyone's connected through this jutsu. Mamushi pulls up, Boruto teleports to Mamushi, cut off his eyes, and we see that the battle is starting to start. We see the team, this Kara team, get ready to gear up for this mission, and Boruto is starting to get thrifty on them. He's cutting these Mamushi clones up. He's already scrapping with them. They start to divide. They swap hands. We can see Boruto's able to cut the eyes of this, and you need to have crazy precision to do this. So it's kind of crazy that Boruto's able to do this feat, I'm not gonna lie. And we see that Mushi has fire style. Now, we didn't see Bug, when he got changed, use any jutsu, but we see that he has fire style in his ability, or at least in his chakra nature. We don't know if Bug was a trained jutsu user, but we see these two Bug clones use fire style, or one of them, and Boruto sort of is backed up into this, and we see that he's absorbing the fire style with his karma mark, and he can't get used to the feeling of using this. We see Boruto use karma for the first time in 2 Blue Vortex. Now that the chapter is over, I can give my final verdicts on this chapter, my thoughts about the sort of pacing, the content, and what I think about it. Now, this chapter, nothing really stood out crazy in this chapter. I think that it's another solid chapter. Nothing too crazy, nothing too dull. I think one of the highlights of this chapter is learning what the new jutsu and the new upgrades are. That's the title of my last video. So they have new upgrades, and sort of the galvanization of troops and Mamushi in combat. And we see that Mamushi is sort of pressing Boruto a lot in combat. And it's really cool. We get to see some of his character and whatnot. So this isn't a bad chapter at all. This isn't a, oh my god, great, break the internet like the anime people say. But I think this is a solid sort of 6-7, not gonna lie, chapter. Now that my verdict is over, I like to talk about my predictions, how I feel, some scaling. And we can do some scaling in this because we see that Mamushi got hands for real. And he really got hands because he can create clones who are tough as nails. And it's like fighting Naruto. If you're going to fight one of them, you're going to fight 1,000 of them. And he is getting pressed by Mamushi right here. We see that Mamushi has fire style. He has some sort of Kawaki tech where he's able to elongate his hand or something into a claw, sort of like Kawaki using the Hashirama cells. And we see Boruto's getting pressed. He has to use karma to negate these jutsus. So that's hey, that's why we get to see karma for the first time, because this bug dude or Mamushi, hey, he's on that type of time in here. And it's really cool to see some more scrapping, some more fight with Mamushi, and we get to see the precision of Boruto in the sword, because you have to cut off his eyes in order to kill him properly, because if not, he can just clone himself. So that's pretty awesome. Mamushi's moving pretty gnarly. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna cap. I'm not gonna front. Mamushi probably would wipe out these past Shinju trees, divine trees. I don't know, but he's looking like one of the more formidable foes, which was sort of teasing us when this chapter opened up in the first 3 chapters when he got pressed on for the first time. I know one of my YouTubers that I like to watch talked about it, and he was like, hey, Mamushi might be that guy that we might save until endgame, and he might be the real villain. Which, I don't know if he'll be the real villain, but he's definitely going to be a tough Mama Jamma, for sure. But we get to see how tough this Mama Jamma is. We need the creation of a whole new jutsu, plus the cooperation of every single other person in the village. It's taken a village, honestly, to beat Mamushi, and it says a lot. You can't beat bro by yourself 1-on-1, because how are you going to stop him for real? No cap. So we get to see that, and as I sort of predicted from my last video, Inojine's jutsu connects everyone, so I wonder how that's going to work as far as them taking out the eye people at the same time, whatnot, because as I predicted from last chapter, we have to link everybody in order to swiftly strike down every single one of these guys sort of simultaneously so they don't replicate or whatnot. So I don't think that's sort of the direction that they're going in, but it's almost along the lines. So I guess I kind of accurately predicted that from last chapter. What I couldn't really predict is what the blade was going to be, the upgrade to this blade. And I sort of thought about the scientific ninja tool of the chakra blade. In part 1 Boruto, we saw that there was essentially a lightsaber that takes your chakra and manifests it in a blade form, and you could essentially slice through anything like a lightsaber. But the downside of that, it drains your chakra significantly, which honestly was sort of in this blade. the security measures, if you're using the Hagoromo Jutsu or whatnot, or if you pick up this blade, it will drain your chakra if you're not registered with that blade. And that's basically what the chakra blade did, but this is the chakra blade, attribute that I wasn't really expecting. So sort of predicted, kind of didn't. I kind of missed on that. And we see that the blade has been essentially reinforced, and there's another material in it that we don't know what it is. Hagoromo cells, maybe he's able to elongate it, maybe he's able to, I don't know. I'm not sure what exactly could be the case. The new material, maybe it can retract into a chakra blade, maybe it can, I'm not sure. I'm actually really excited to see what this new material is, because I can't really predict this. I don't think I can use my crystal ball on this one, but we see that there's Team 10, Team 7, Ada, Amato, Kawaki. I wonder how strong and potent Kawaki is going to be after these upgrades that essentially will rip his body apart, because we saw that he doesn't take to traditional training like a ninja. Part 1 opening Boruto, he says the ninja way is dead, but Boruto is still that ninja. He still takes jutsu, he still takes the ninja way of training to get stronger. Kawaki takes the short stick, or the easy fix to gain power. So I guess Kawaki is just going to be a Dragon Ball Z character at this point, where he's just going to be just strongest freak, fastest freak. And so he's just really going to overwhelm Boruto as sort of a speed feat and strength feat, as opposed to hacks, ninjutsu and whatnot, and chakra control and whatnot. We know that Kawaki is able to use some simple fire style from training with Naruto, but anything beyond that isn't really in his bag. So I don't know. Maybe Mamushi, will he destroy the village that much? I don't know, because Jura does not want the village to be destroyed in that capacity. So maybe small scale destruction in the village, but we know that full scale Naruto freaking summonings and large Susanoo scale things are not going to be the case, because they don't want to destroy the village. So being able to bottle up such a formidable foe in Mamushi while being able to destroy him is going to be very interesting to see. So that's really all I have to say on this chapter. Maybe we see Momoshiki next chapter. I doubt it. Or I think we do, because he has this pact with Momoshiki, I guess, to use karma without maybe giving him power. Maybe he's going to take over, sort of. We'll see. Maybe we get to see Sumire in action for once, but it's interesting to see that Amato is still with us and he's on our side, and we don't see any ulterior motives from him yet. And yeah, I'm really excited on see what Chojo brings, what Himuraru brings, what Damon brings, what Ada brings, what Shikamaru brings. There's a lot to speculate and predict, but as the sake of this video and already being a long video, I'm not going to get into every detail of every character. So I'm going to just leave it at that. This was a good chapter, 6-7 chapter. It was a good chapter, above average chapter for sure. And we get to see sort of the motives of a lot of the people that's buying into this Kara organization. Oh, I didn't even mention Sai. Sai knows something up, and the investigator knows that Mitsuki might be the culprit of this Boruto escaping operation. So that's going to be interesting. something's going to happen. There's going to be almost a civil war with this Mamushi fight and everyone else who are not in this Kara thing. They're going to need to manage the village and Boruto's image while fighting this foe, and hopefully they can get help from the village while fighting, because Mabushi is looking like he's going to be a handful. He's already more than a handful. So, yeah, good chapter. I can't wait for the next one.